Oh, S. That was the last thing Brandon Swanson said before the call went silent. He was on the phone with his dad, trying to guide him to his location after driving off a rural road. Despite 47 minutes on the phone and a massive search, Brandon was never seen or heard from again. Brandon Swanson disappeared on the night of May 14, 2008 in western Minnesota. He was just 19 years old, responsible, intelligent, with no history of trouble. And then in the span of one strange, frustrating and ultimately terrifying phone call, he was gone. A normal night out. It was the end of the school year. Brandon had been studying wind energy at a community college. On May 13th, 2008, he attended a small gathering in the nearby town of Carnby to celebrate with friends. He wasn't drinking heavily. Friends later told police he seemed completely sober when he left around midnight to head back to his home in Marshall, Minnesota, just a 30-minute drive. He never made it home. What we know, around 1:15 a.m., Brandon called his parents. His car had gone into a ditch on a gravel road. He wasn't hurt, he wasn't panicking, he just needed help. He told his dad, Brandon Swanson, that he thought he was near the town of Lind, about 7 miles from his home. So his dad got in the car and drove out to pick him up. They stayed on the phone the entire time. Brandon tried to guide his father with directions, flashing his lights, describing nearby landmarks, but they couldn't see each other. It was dark, and the area was completely rural. No streetlights, no houses nearby, just dirt roads and fields. They tried honking their horns. No luck. After nearly 45 minutes of driving and phone calls, Brandon said he was going to walk toward lights he thought were from the town of Lind. He told his father to meet him there. His last words? Oh, sss. Then the call ended. Abruptly, without warning, his father tried calling back, over and over. The phone rang and rang, but Brandon never picked up again. The search begins. At 6:30 a.m., the Swansons reported Brandon missing. The police initially weren't too concerned. After all, Brandon was 19, an adult. Maybe he had just wandered off and would return. But Brandon's parents knew something was wrong. Police eventually traced his phone signal, not to Lind, where Brandon thought he was, but 25 miles away, near the tiny town of Taunton. His car was found off a gravel road in Lincoln County. It was undamaged, no signs of struggle or foul play. Search teams began combing the area. Strange details and unanswered questions. What makes this case especially chilling is how calm everything seemed until it wasn't. Brandon thought he was near Lind, but he was actually nowhere close. He stayed on the phone with his parents for 47 minutes, trying to help them find him. He described seeing lights, hearing water, and walking toward town. But something happened. His sudden exclamation, "Oh, sir," followed by dead silence, has haunted investigators and his family ever since. Did he fall into something? Was he attacked by someone or something? Or did he simply get lost in the dark and perish from exposure? The landscape, dangerous at night. The area where his car was found is rural farmland. There are canals and drainage ditches, fences and barbed wire, wildlife rough terrain with tall grass and swamps. Search teams brought in bloodhounds, which followed Brandon's scent through fields and to the edge of the Yellow Medicine River. One theory is that he may have tried to cross and drowned, but no body was ever recovered. Searchers have scoured the riverbanks multiple times. Nothing. Phone clues. Brandon's phone rang for hours after the call ended. This suggests it wasn't submerged or destroyed immediately. Eventually, it stopped ringing, likely running out of battery. The family's devastation. Brian and Annette Swanson never gave up. They organised searches, handed out flyers, and spoke to the media. They also pushed for legal reform. Because Brandon was legally an adult, police initially delayed their response. Thanks to the Swansons' efforts, Brandon's law was passed in 2009. It requires Minnesota law enforcement to immediately begin investigating missing adult cases if the person is believed to be in danger, regardless of age. Popular theories: 1. Accidental drowning. He may have fallen into the Yellow Medicine River after the call cut out, but cadaver dogs and divers searched extensively and found nothing. 2. Exposure or hypothermia. He may have become disoriented and collapsed from exhaustion or cold, but no remains have ever been found in the area. 3. Animal attack. Some speculate he may have been attacked by wild animals, but this is considered unlikely due to lack of evidence. 4. Foul play. Did someone pick him up after the call? Could a stranger have found him walking alone and harmed him? Possible, but unlikely without signs. What makes this case so eerie? Brandon didn't vanish from a party. He wasn't abducted in a city. He was just a normal young man trying to walk home through a rural area with his dad on the phone the whole time. That phone call makes the case feel incredibly close and personal. You can imagine being his parent, hearing your son's voice, staying calm, trying to help, and then silence. It's every family's nightmare. Where the case stands today, it's been over 15 years. Brandon Swanson is still missing. No body, no clothing, no solid evidence. The area continues to be searched periodically, and his family remains hopeful for closure. Ending message for video conclusion. Brandon's last words were full of fear, and since then, silence. His parents still search, they still hope, and they still ask, what happened after that call? Share this video to help keep Brandon's story alive. Comment below. What do you think happened in those final moments? Subscribe to this channel for more real, respectful, unsolved true crime cases.